The edit page in DaVinci Resolve, how does it work? First thing we're going to do is just reset the interface to make sure you're seeing how it comes by default. So what we need to do is, if we go to reset UI layout, press that, and that'll reset it. If over time you work out I like things to the left and right and how you want it, you can actually come back, and if we go back to workspace, go to layouts here, and then you can save your layout. So once you've worked out what works for you, you can then save your perfect productivity layout, or you may have 2 or 3 depending on the type of projects you're working on. So moving around the interface, if we go to, let's go here. So this is our timeline down the bottom. Initially, when you start a project, you won't see anything here. I've been using the cut page, so there's elements already on here. So the way DaVinci Resolves, once you've started bringing content in through the media pool, it will show in all your other pages. Same thing if you've done stuff in cut page, it will show in your edit page, and it works between the 2 pages. So the pages talk between themselves. So here is our media pool. So this is the media that's already been imported. And if I'm thinking, okay, that's taking quite a bit of space and I would like to see more of the edit line, if I go to what looks like a traditional, you may have seen these on PowerPoint or Keynote, a presentation button, that there, if you press that, you will see the timeline actually moves across the bottom, expanding the editing area and reducing the media area. Just started a blank project so you can see what it would look like out of the box, and if you've got no media in it. So to add media, I'll do this first so all the other elements would make a lot more sense. So I'm going to go to the media pool, or the media section here, right click, new bin, and I'm going to call this eCam. You don't have to give it you don't have to bring him in as a new bin. And if you've got your content structured by folder, you can just drag them across. But I'm going to put new bin, and let's just take this clip and I'm going to drop it into that clip. Yes. Now when you start a project, it's going to ask you what the the structure of your video is going to be. So HD, that 24 frames. So you can say don't change the overall project, or do change. So if I click change, it's going to take whatever the clip is and change that project to match that. So now we've got a clip, I can just bring that to the timeline, and that's how, if you look there, let's go back again, you'll see there is no timeline. And as soon as I drag, I'm just going to drag the whole clip on, I now get a timeline. And I can rename this. So if I, how can I, where these, the timeline, this is confidently timeline. Do I just double click it on here? Yes, same as on the other one. So you can test. So that's how you would add or bring in media and drop a clip onto where the edit plane is, and that will immediately create a timeline. So now we've got a clip on the timeline, we can actually see what we can do there. So on the left hand side, you will see timeline view options. We click that, scroll down, we've got a couple of options here. So you can change, I generally can't do it when I'm zoomed in. I'm going to first go with the bottom one. I can increase how I view the audio. Can I see? You might be able to see at the bottom. That's increase that there. This is particularly useful if you edit, but also look at your audio waves so you can see if there's a dip or a long silence, then that makes editing that out quicker. The video as well. This is useful. If you need to wear glasses, you can increase this so you can see. Particularly if you've only got 2 or 3 video tracks and maybe 1 or 2 audio tracks, you don't have it really compressed. have it big so you can see what you're doing. Along here, I've covered this in a previous video, but by selecting red or checkerboard, if I've got a clip and it's not to the full frame, so if I'm doing a wide aspect 16:9 but the clip I brought in is not fully that aspect ratio and I've got blanks to the either to the top or the bottom or side, I will see, and I'll show you this later, I will see a red area where content is missing. Generally, if it's on a black background, because the viewer's black, you wouldn't necessarily see that you're missing content. So I generally like that on red. Fixed play head, I like how it's set up. If you want, you can have fixed play heads. The other thing is at the moment you can see the waveform. I can, if I want to, select display full waveform and it's just going to expand it a bit. So I'm going to do that. So that's how that looks there. Other things we've got, if we move to the right hand side, you'll see we've got two play windows. If I press, let's see if I can do that downward, you will see I will now get a panel on the right hand side. If I press that, I'll get the panel on the right hand. That's my inspector window. So that's in the upper right hand. And obviously I've still got all of this timeline. I can, if I want to, now press that button there. And that will expand my inspector. That's useful potentially if you've got effects and audio stuff that you want to see more of, and that'll be that towards the bottom as we get to that. I'm going to leave that expanded so we can see content as it arrives. Other things across the top, again, there's other tools, but we'll cover them as we use them within the video. We've got the mixer. Now, as soon as I turn that down this side of the editing field here, you'll see as soon as I tap mixer, I now can see more of the audio details. So as I'm scrubbing through, I can see my meters on the audio. Here we've got an export link. So if we want to export, I would generally go to the delivery. I would go to the delivery page when I'm ready to export, but you can click quick export. A few other things you can do with the interface is, if you see when I hover across that line there, I can actually move my preview monitors area down, cutting back the amount of space I'm allocating for my timeline, or I can move it up. So if you need more space or want to reduce it, you can definitely do that. Again, where you see these lines, you can tweak how the interface is. So once you've got your desired one, I did say you can go to layouts and then save your layout. So let's look at adding some clips to the timeline. So I'm going to just delete these in this case, or if you wanted to delete a clip you've already got on the timeline, highlight it, press the delete key, and it's gone. It's deleted that clip off the timeline, not out of your media pool, so it would still be in your media pool. So we're going to pick on a clip. We'll pick on this one. Again, at the top here, you have different options how this can be displayed. So I've got the thumbnails of the clips. I can increase it. I can view it in a card format, thumbnail format, or detail, just the list. I'll go with thumbnail. So let's pick on this clip here. If I double click it. Now if I play this clip, now I don't want the whole clip on my timeline. So what I can do is I can move this point here. The red point is what we can view at that moment So let's play that a bit. Yeah, so once the spoon's there, I'm going to move that to my out point. So that's my in and that's my out. Now, you'll see here, I have different icons. So I can insert the clip or press F9, override a clip. We haven't got no clips on, so we can't do that yet. Or replace a clip. Again, we can do this further on into the video. There is keyboard shortcuts. So if I go to edit, I will find it. Is it under clip? I think it's under edit. Yeah, there. So you will see there, insert F9, F10. If I want to add the clip to the end, it's shift F12. Now, one thing, if you're using the Mac, I'm sorry, on the PC behind me, I did notice when I was doing this, I was pulling my hair out. What you need to do is you'll need to go to settings on your keyboard settings. You're looking to go to keyboard shortcuts, click keyboard shortcuts, and we're looking for function keys. You click function key. I can't do it when I'm zoomed in. And then we're looking to turn that on. What that does at the moment, if you've got the keyboard and you press your, where are we, F10 and F11 and F12, that controls your volume. Now, if you turn this on, then to use those functions, you need to press the function keys and those relevant keys, and then you can control your volume. I'm going to leave it deselected. Reason being is I do some tutorials and stuff like that. And if I've changed that settings, I might not be feeling the pain of a customer or a viewer of some of my content I put out. So I'm going to bring that in a non-shortcut way, at least for the time being. I might do it on my main machine. So to bring that over, the other option, so I can press that. So let's do that. We're going to press that key, and that's just going to insert the clip. Because there's no, zoom that off, and that was the short clip. Because there's no other clip where it's just going to put it straight on the timeline. Now with that clip on there, as you can see, we can't see an awful lot of details. The reason it's pink is because I pre-colored it, and I leave a link to how I did that on a video. What we want to do is, if we go to this area just above the timeline, you will see we've got full extent zoom, we have a detail zoom, and a custom zoom. So I'm going to go full detail zoom. That will widen the clip out. So it hasn't extended it, it's just so we can see what's in that clip. There was no audio in that clip, so there's no audio underneath it. And if we were to scrub through, that's that clip there. Now, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, because we've got, and I'll show you this again, timeline settings. So what did it call it? Timeline view options, and we had red. If we look at the top right, you will see there's the clip is widescreen, but it's not the full width. It's not 16:9 completely. So we have media shortages at the top and the bottom, and the red is telling me I am short of content. So if I was to render that out, that would just render out as black bars, which is not the end of the world if that's what you want. But if you don't want to be short, particularly if you're on the left and right, it might look a bit weird. And if I go back to, say, black on there, it's not obvious that we're short. So I'm going to just go back to that, turn red back on, and now we can see we're short of clip or content in there. Other options, where we selected that automatically, we can zoom that in ourselves. So again, we're not increasing the size of the media, we're just visually increasing it, particularly if you need glasses. Now let's play with another clip. We'll pick on this one. Now if we play through it, that's that clip there. Wait a minute, let's pick up the red. As I'm playing through it, I can decide, okay, at that point, that's my in point. Again, I can drag this here, or I can use keyboard shortcut I. That's my in point. I can continue pressing the clip. I'm using my space bar. And I think, okay, that's enough. That's my out point, and I can press O. So that's my clip. That's my selection. Now, if for some reason I decide I've messed that up, obviously I can move the point here. And same with the other side. But if I'm thinking I've just made a complete balls up, I can press my Alt or Option on the Mac and X, and that would remove my in and out points. So now I can go through that again. I can play. I want to see the plate leaving, so I'm going to go in, and that's my out point. So that's my selection. That's what I'm going to take over, and it's going to join the end. If you see this jagged line here, that's where the end of that clip is. What I'm seeing there is the last frame of the clip on my timeline. So this is my source material, and this is what's on the timeline, and this is my last frame. Now I want to drag that selection I made, and if I drag it to the right, you will see this menu pop up, which is represented just under those what we played it earlier. So do I want to insert the clip? Do I want to override it? Do I want to replace, place it on top, or append to the end? I want to add this to the end. So it's now added to the end of the previous clip in the timeline. So now let's select another clip. Again, we're trying to cover different ways of bringing your clips in. So we're going to go with this one. We'll play. And I'll press pause on the keyboard. Now you'll see here we have arrows with a line in called marked in and marked out. That's the same as the I and O, or us doing it manually. So in this case, I'm going to tap that. That's going to be my in point, and you'll see there it's dropped a marker there, or an in point, because it does have markers, so I'll try not to confuse you with that term yet. So now we need an out point. So if I play on, and if I decide that's my out point, it's not a lot of difference in there, but, and then I can just come to this and then press mark out. So that's the clip we're going to pull in. I'm going to pull, let's see, we've got override. We want to insert clip. So I'll press insert there. And now it's added that clip. Now you'll notice that I can't see my previous clips. So I believe if I just go here, that will just tighten that up a bit. So now we've got all our media on there. I don't know if this will work further on, if we've got a load of content in there, but we'll find that out soon. Now let's grab a clip with some audio in. So if I go on to, I'm in the media pool, I click on this bucket, I will pick on, let's go with this one. If I press Option, Alt, Option and Alt on the Windows, that's just fed my in and out points. I'm going to play from here. So that's me point. No, that's not very nice right there. Let's go with that. So that's going to be my in point. I can press I on the keyboard and we'll play on a bit. That's going to be my out point, O on the keyboard. Just chest that. Okay, I would have preferred to be here, so I can drag. I want to pick up that one. It won't allow me when I'm zoomed in, so I can drag that. And I think, okay, that's perfect. If I'm not 100% happy with that, I can use this tool here, and that will move my playhead more in a precise manner. And same on this side. So it's weird when you're zoomed in, but this will allow me to just nudge a bit if I want it, maybe frame by frame, and I think, okay, that's where I want it. I can now drag, or just press the marker out point, and that will reset that. So now I've got this clip. We know it's got audio in there. If I was to just press, so if I select this and go insert clip, you'll notice we have audio and video, which might exactly what you want. You can say, okay, that's great. I'm going to do another method. You'll notice because we've got options now, we've got audio and video. If for some reason I only wanted the audio, I can drag the audio and say I wanted that under there. So now I've got audio, but I've left the video behind. And I'll delete that. And going back to here, again, these options are showing here. If I just want the video and not the audio, I can just drag that across there. So that's how that works. I do believe, here goes comfortably. Mind you, there's no pointers there. You wouldn't, oh yeah, I suppose you could do, yeah. So I can drag it there if I want to. So video only, insert, override, and fill. And, whoa, what did it do there? Did it just bounce to where my playhead is? That's different. I'll have a play with that later. Yes, that is. So the first one is insert, and that will insert where my red playhead is. If I wanted it to the end, I've just got to add append to the end, and it'll come there. So if I don't add append to the end, it's just going to add it where my playhead is. So quick recap, if we want audio only, we take the waveform. If we want video only, we take the video clip. If we want all of it, we just drag the whole video and either drag it down or add to append or append to the end, or however we want to use that clip. Now for another method of adding content or a clip to the website. Sorry, timeline. So I do web design and my brain's thinking of a job I need to get or should be doing. So if we go to coffee, which is here, double click that. Now this whole clip, if we wanted to, we could add that entire clip to the timeline without deciding any in and out points. So I could just drag that straight on the timeline, or I could press these icons here to insert it or append it. So now I've got this clip here. I'm going to press that. So see if, does that give me, yeah. Now I don't want all of that coffee sequence. So if I play through it, you'll see it's playing there. I'm going to move it just to as the coffee comes out, just as those drops are coming out. But I now need to deal with this bit here. So if we go to, I believe it's trim. Yeah. So if we go to trim, you'll see some letters. These are keyboard shortcuts. Quite a lot of them are standard. So we've got here blade edit. Now I know that's the same on Final Cut Pro. A is back to normal. The other option is we've got here. Let's come out of that for a moment. You'll see there's illustrated blade, trim mode, and A for the arrow. So I'm gonna, in this case, press the blade. I could equally have pressed B on the keyboard. And with this clip selected, I'm going to zoom in, see if will it. Yep. So I decide where I want to go, clip that, and now I've bladed, I've physically cut the clip. Now, it's still available in the media pool. I haven't damaged the clip, for want of a better word. Now, normally you would think I've got to go back to the arrow to go back into normal mode. If I move my pointer above the clip and I can select it, even though I'm in arrow mode, once I'm here, because there's no clip here, I can select it. I'll have a play once I've got a clip above it, because I don't know what it'll do there, but we'll find out later on in the video. Now, if I press the delete key, we go back up to trim. I believe somewhere it'll tell us where the... Can we see it? I can't find the delete key as a shortcut. Edit, ripple cut, there. So delete selected and shift delete. Now I'm just going to press delete and see what that does. Now I'm hoping it's not going to leave a gap. I press the delete key. No, I think that's because I've got ripple on. Now if I didn't have ripple on, I might have to press shift delete for it to ripple. So ripple on is basically the rubber band, and anything I'm doing in between, it should be pulling everything in. I don't know if ripple is part of this option here. No. Okay, so that's that clip there. Now I'm still got my blade on. If I want to get rid of it, press A. So I can move through my clip. I can play it through here, because this is the timeline monitor on the right hand side. So that's a program. That's what we're creating, the program, the TV. So that's the program monitor on the right. On the left, that's the input. That's the source monitor, which is the same things you'll find on streaming programs like OBS. They have if you've got it switched on, you've got a source and a program. And I believe you've got the same on Ecam as well. So yeah, you've got a source and a program mode. So if I go on to this, I decide, okay, I can watch it there. Oh, it didn't expand the entire timeline. Okay, I want to know more about that. Is that because I'm manually over it? I want to see if I can see the entire timeline. Does that? Okay, let's zoom out again. It's quite interesting to know when you've got your whole timeline. Okay, so that, if I expand that, click that. So pressing that one, what's it called? Has it got a name? Full extent zoom. Okay, so that's going to give us the clip. So obviously, as we add more and more clips, it's expanding. So that's useful, particularly if you're worried that you're going to lose something at the end. That's why I like the cut page. If I just jump to the cut page, if you haven't already seen it. So even though my media there, this line here, if you see, is all, this just grows as the clip grows. So cutting in the cut page is I've found it quite useful and easier sometimes than going straight in the edit page. Anyway, so we're going to go across here. We want it just there. We don't want too much coffee. So I'm going to go press B on the keyboard, press cut there. Now, I don't know. Now I could, if I go press A, I could drag this clip in at the moment and shorten it. But we're not doing that at the moment. That's something we do in the future. Or I can go back to B, blade, cut that, and then press delete. Press delete on this one. And then you'll see that clips move. So I've just kind of, so the coffee starts there and then jumps full. You did see that, but It's like a glitch in the matrix for those who know. So that's one of the options. So if you bring your whole clip in, and then you can chop up what pieces you want. Okay, a few more methods of how to bring your clips on and slice them at the beginning or end if that's what you want. If you are finding this video helpful, don't forget to tap subscribe, thumbs up, and let's continue. So I want to show, let's go to the trim. Now if I scroll down and not move too much, you'll see we've got trim start, which is shift square brackets open, and trim end, shift square brackets close. So I've got those two options, and then I'm going to show you another one which is a bit more easier. So let's grab a clip. Let's go back to Italian. So there's this clip here, has no in and out points, so I'm just going to drag that on. Put that there. Now if I scrub through and think, okay, I'd like to lose, that's quite useful again. There's those red points highlighting that the clip isn't full width. Oh, sorry, full height. Anyway, so if we move our playhead to where we want this clip to be, and I can press my arrow keys left and right just to nudge the frame forward, just there, that's the precise moment I want to cut this. Now if I remember those two keys, back to trim again, we had shift and open brackets. So if I press shift, if I can find it, open square brackets, there you are. So it's cut that way. So whereas before I was using the blade and then deleting it, it's just cut it and deleted it itself. You may have noticed it's cut, deleted it, but left me a gap. That's not ideal technically, unless I was planning to do something else. That's not ideal. If I was going to drop other stuff in, not a problem. So let's undo that. And again, that would do the same at the end. So if I move my playhead to the end, and I can't remember what the key, yeah, it's shift, that's it, yeah, it's shift and square brackets, shift square brackets, and then it would chop the end off. But ideally, and again, that didn't matter at the end because there was nothing the other side of it, so that worked okay. But here I want to cut this out. Let's find that precise moment there. Okay, I want to cut this out, delete it, and move it to the end, all in one process. So what we need to do is, it is actually trim. We want to go ripple and start it playhead. So if I can keep that all on one screen. So we want, so where our playhead is, we're going to tell it shift command square brackets open, or shift square brackets, shift command square brackets at the end. That's a mouthful. So I'm going to tell it to use ripple. So let me have a play with that. Shift command square brackets. And you would have noticed instantly it took the clip, cut it, and removed the unwanted material. When we cut and we're making edits, you'll notice, or I should have covered this earlier, this icon here is the snapping. So when we're making edits and cuts, the clip will just move, unless where we're doing snap to that timeline. So when we're doing cuts, the ripple deletes all of those things, but against the previous clip, because this is selected on. So that's the snapping tool there. So let's bring in one more clip so I can show you that previous. So if I drop that in, there's that clip there. We're going to cut. So if I remember, it is shift command or shift control and open square brackets. So it's cut the front of there. Now I didn't do it, but I'm assuming it did work. So if we do Shift Command or a Shift Control on Windows, square brackets closed, it should cut. This is the pink clip on the timeline. It should cut that at that point, remove the clip and pull the new wine clip to it.